Hi, I'm Terry Visosky from Westwood Plateau, and this is my repair shop. A couple months ago, or a couple weeks ago here, Kevin from 1800 Par dropped his iron to me with a bent shaft that he hit a rock with, and I just thought it'd be a nice article to go through all the stuff that we did to put a new shaft in his club. And so we'll just go step by step here. First, what you do is you document the club, and you do a swing weight on it. And because the club is still all together, to see swing weight is extremely important to the better players, and Kevin is one of the better players at our course. And and we're running D3 on this club, which means that it's an 18-inch fulcrum here, and swing weight, what it does is it gives you the actual playing weight of the head and the whole mass in a club. So what I'll do is I'll put D3 in here, and the club has to go back to D3 exactly, or else it's going to feel very foreign, because the high-end clubs will always be the same swing weight. So, yeah. Now, the next thing I do here is I measure the length of the clubs, and a 7-iron should be standard in the industry, should be 37 inches. A lot of clubs are getting half an inch to 1 inch longer. The better players will not like that all that much because the ball is going too far, and then they're adjusting the loft of these clubs. So yeah, this is standard 37-inch 7-iron, which has been played for years, and we'll go put that down here, 37 inches. Then what I have to do next is put it into a frequency analyzer. Now I know exactly, because this club still has the label on it, I can tell, but a lot of clubs that come into me don't have the labels on it. And what you do is I have to, with no label, like this one's a 6.0, which is a firm shaft. In a Project X firm rifle, and what it does is I flip it, and electronically it gives me a readout exactly how stiff or how flexible that shaft is. So if it didn't have a label, I'd have to do that to see so it fits in with the rest of his irons. And this one here is got all that information on it. And yeah, and then the other thing is we know it's a 6.0 shaft, so now what I got to do is I got to find a 6.0 rifle, the 6.0 rifle, to fit into this club, because that's a certain weight. If the weight changes, it will really feel foreign to players. So you try and keep the weight exactly or as close as you can find, because some of these old clubs you can't find any weight on them at all, and find new shafts for them. Okay, so we know now the swing weight, the length, and the flex of the shaft, which you can see now. And then the other thing that I like to try and keep is the grip, to keep the grip the same as you can do it, because the weight on grips is changing over the years, and they're getting lighter and heavier grips for different players. So I try and keep the grip exactly, so the swing weight and the overall weight of the club becomes the same. Now we've got all that set up now. Now what I do is I have to go over and pull the club apart. Now what I do is I put this into a rubberized vise here, and I put heat on this head, and what that does is it turns the epoxy back to a liquid state that I can move that head off, and that's what we'll have to do here. So anyway, So we know what the shaft is. No, we gotta find him a shaft, and yeah, Kevin, he had to bring the shaft in specially from the shaft supplier. So anyway, this can be quite a thing to pull off, but we're gonna pull this puppy off here. Okay, good. All right. Now, you've got to clean the inside of these clubs from the epoxy out of them as fast as you can while it's hot. So this is what we're doing right now. Is gonna, and I fire up my downdraft. This was my project this winter. I've installed a new downdraft system, extremely high-powered downdraft system, and you see that this is what it does is it pulls all the fumes, the poison, all the dust and everything away from your face and into a filtered system. Eh? So yeah. Anyway. What you have to do is you cannot put a head that's dirty on a shaft. It has to be extremely clean. All the epoxy has to be taken off. Otherwise, epoxy doesn't stick to epoxy. And this one's already done. Okay. Now, I have sourced exactly the same shaft for this club, and you've got to get this right on the button. Otherwise, it's going to be very foreign to pretty well everybody. From the good player all the way down to. And I'm very lucky that I've sourced this. Okay. Now, what we have to do is we got to put something called a ferrule. And what that does is it just makes it pretty. Okay, it doesn't serve any purpose other than a little bit of anti-vibration. But yeah, I've got to put that on the shaft, and then what we got to do is we got to pound this into the and what I'm doing is I'm seating that ferrule. Okay, so it makes an extremely nice fitting, and these are factory ferrules. I have, since I work on Callaway for so many years, I do have the factory, so a lot of the factory ferrules and stuff like that to put this stuff back together. So yeah, now what I've got to do is we've got to find out if this is going to go to D3. Now, what I can do is I can put this on the scale, and I'll have to add weights. I'll have to add weights to these, and yeah, anyway, you move up because there's no grip on here. You move up to perfect. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, what this tells me is we're going to have to put a little bit of weight in the head of this club to make it feel the same. Okay, so here's what I do. I pull out my weight assortment. Now, we're just going to have to put just a little bit in the tip here, like so. Okay. There we go. Now, let's see if we can bring up that swing weight. You notice that this is leaving just a hair. Okay, now it's leaving, see? So now we've got that all settled. Okay, good. It's all good. Now, that's very important to do that. And I've just got to move this ferrule back because we put this weight in the tip here. It doesn't seat like it was before. And yeah. Okay. Good, good, good. Now, what we got to do now is we've got that set up. Is we've got to glue it. Now, when this club goes together, that label at the factory goes to the back. Okay, and that's how we're going to glue it, is like that, eh? So what we do is I've got a little bit of glue here. Okay, my epoxy. Now I mix that, you don't need a whole bunch. And what that does is, I have something that a lot of people don't use, and I always put it with my epoxy. It's tungsten steel filings, and what that does is it keeps the shaft away from the inside of the golf club, and it floats it in epoxy, and what it does is it protects the shaft. So yeah. Okay. You can feel the filings as they're floating in there, and they're keeping the steel away from the steel, and it's just putting this epoxy in a floating state. Now you put that, well, basically put that like that, and you put this label at the back like the factory is. But I didn't spline this one because I want to put it back to what they call, and the label will not be the same if I cured it. If I cured it, it would be way off the line. So yeah, now it's all ready to go. And yeah. What I do is I leave the epoxy on the bench just to test to make sure that it's set, because, chemicals and heat and different things do different things to different whatever. Now, so now we're all glued up, and glue's set, and we're ready for the grip to put on. And what I do is I mark how far the grip should go, so every grip is the same as the other one. So if you probably got grips that you've got back from the gripper, and for some reason it feels a little skinny. You see what happens when you push it on a little too far. See how thin it becomes? And if he doesn't push it on far enough, look at how fat it becomes. So I can change the size of the grip by just stretching it or not stretching it. So it makes a big difference, and to make sure that your clubs are all the same length. Okay, and that's why I put that on there like that. So yeah, good. To make sure that it's the same as the factory anyway on this one. Yeah. There's a double-sided tape. Move it in there. Cut access out. There we go. Pull out the drip pan. Gotta be careful on some of the graphites nowadays. They're so flimsy. The walls of the graphite. You gotta be careful when you put them into a vise. Make sure the logo's up. Okay. Now, what I do is because I'm using this kind of tape, you can just give it a little bit of air and up she goes. And what it does when the air goes on it, it aligns everything so nice, eh? So there. Done. I'll just get a towel, wipe it down, wipe it down, wipe it down, there. Make sure that it's straight. Perfect. Okay.